Hi there, I'm Amanda with amandascorner.com, and today I'm going to show you some of my favorite Pilates moves on the Reformer for when you have a sore back. So these moves can be done if you've just had a long day and your low back's feeling a little achy, a little sore, or they can be things that you work up to if you've strained your back or perhaps you've injured it. Before you would do these exercises, preceding these exercises, I would recommend a good warm-up. I'm not going to demonstrate that tonight. I've already done that on my own. So I would recommend doing footwork on the Reformer and the 100, and then possibly a little bit of upper body work with some heavy resistance, just to get the body really nice and warm, get the blood pumping so that you are prepared to then get into the back and stretch out the back a little bit. Okay, on the Reformer, I have two springs. I've got a light and a medium. You could certainly do this series. We're going to bring the feet to the loops. You could do this series with one medium spring, but you won't get as much pull into stretch. And when I have a sore achy back, I want that stretch. So I'm going a little bit heavier with a light and a medium. Okay, we're going to swing our feet around and slide your tush towards your feet as close as you can. Draw the tummy in, hands behind the thighs, and begin to roll back, one bone at a time until you're settled into the Reformer. A lot of people don't fit when they first come down, so just adjust yourself, get your shoulders and your head comfortable. My headrest is completely flat here. If doing that really pops the chin up for you, then you may want to put a small cushion underneath the head, and that would be preferable for this series rather than raising the headrest, because we are going to do some moves with the legs elevating, coming up into a little bit of a shoulder stand, and it's not great to have that neck in that flexed, cranked posture if you lift the headrest. So a small cushion underneath the head if you need it. I'm down on my little sticky part here because my foot bar is lowered. I'm going to press out to long legs, and then I'm going to bring my loops. This machine has fuzzy straps, but you might just have leather loops. Either way is fine. We're going to hook it onto the arch of the foot, but I'm close to the heel of the foot. They tend to stay a little bit better there, and then you just want to get them even and comfortable. So we're going to start with low frogs. Right now I've got my feet in a small V, heels together, and you're going to lower the legs down and in as far as you can without flattening the back. So the machine's going to keep pulling me, would roll me up, and I'm going to keep my tummy nice and tight, and I'm going to stop the carriage before I lose that neutral pelvic position. So belly is drawn in, and I'm going to let my knees come narrow so that they're going to be in line with my shoulders or slightly more narrow. They're going to stay within the frame of my body inside my Pilates box. Arms reaching long by the sides. You could also turn the palms open for a little bit of stretch to the upper body. On an exhalation, I'm going to press the legs out on the diagonal and let the inner thighs come together. Belly stays tight, and I still got my neutral. I have space underneath my low back. And then with my inhale, I'm going to draw the knees in narrowly so I keep that connection of energy between the inner thighs. I'm going to lift through the pelvic floor and pull down through the stomach, all at the same time. Exhaling, pressing up and out and away on the diagonal, and inhaling down and in. So with low frogs, the lower you press towards the floor, so a more angled diagonal, you're going to get more tummy work here. At some point, your straps are going to hit the machine, or they may even come and rub your body. So if that is irritating to you and you don't care for that, just press slightly higher on your diagonal. If you find that your tummy is popping or you're rocking in and out of your neutral position, which could actually make your back much more sore, you're going to start pressing the legs up and out on a higher diagonal. And they may be much closer to vertical, and that's fine. You really want to work that belly. We want this move to come from the core, so you want to stay extremely still and level through the pelvis. Okay, let's try one more frog. These are really nice when my back is feeling sore, just to get centered, just to get into my neutral and to find the belly. We're going to press up and out and hold the legs straight. I'm going to stay in my Pilates style stance, so I have a small V. I'm going to try to keep all my toes lined up in the same plane and space, and then I'm going to let the legs lift until I find a stretch. But again, I'm not going to let my low back flatten, so the machine is going to keep pulling me. Its job with the springs is to continue to pull my legs. And that's why it is nice to have a little bit heavier setting to get pulled into the stretch, but you want to make sure your tummy can counter that and you can stay neutral. From the backs of my thighs, from the hamstrings, not from the back of my body, I'm going to breathe in and press both legs forward. So this is straight leg stretches. and I'm performing them in a small turnout. A little bit of external rotation that's beginning at the hip joint and then coming down and out through the toes. So inhaling to press forward, pressing from the lateral hamstrings, exhaling to lift and finding a stretch through that area. We're going to try 3 more. Inhale. Of course, this could also be either performed or repeated in parallel and also internally rotated so that you're in a pigeon-toed position. So please keep that in mind. That can feel really good as well. Okay. So on this last one here, I'm going to actually allow it to pull me out of my neutral. I'm going to go flat. I'm going to let it pull me to wherever it feels comfortable. So for me, I can come up into a little bit of a shoulder stand. That feels good. You can always soften and bend the knees if that feels better. I want to keep the chin drawing down and in towards my chest. If there's tightness down the back of the body here, the chin is likely to pop up. So we're going to draw that down and in. Okay, with this small turnout still in the feet, coming from the hips, I'm going to bend the knees towards my shoulders. So I can peekaboo through my legs, grab a diamond. And then a tight belly, I'm going to roll down bone by bone, like I'm giving myself a little back massage. So I want to bring the weight through each bone of my back, and I'm going to roll all the way down until I'm back into neutral. Okay, so from here, I'm going to take this and progress it now into short spine. We're going to exhale and press out like we did with low frog. I'm going to let the legs come up like I did for my straight leg stretch, but I'm going to allow my back to flatten, and I'm going to begin to lift up and over into a shoulder stand like I did with that last big stretch. I'm going to take this until the carriage stops. I'm going to allow the knees to melt down towards the shoulders. I have that turnout, so again, I can peekaboo through my legs, so I have a diamond. While my feet and heels stay light and lifted towards the ceiling, the sit bones and the hips are going to begin to sink down. So if you can see, I've got my feet lifted, the hips sink down, and I'm trying to make as much space that I possibly can from each heel to each sit bone. So my back is not very sore tonight, but when it is sore, this feels amazing. It's a great release down through the back of the legs, up into the bum, and into the low spine. So just like we did with that last big stretch, we're going to make this move come from the center. You're just going to breathe naturally, and you're going to come all the way back down into neutral. So I'm going to go through short spine a bit more fluidly this time. So you exhale to press out, squeeze the inner thighs together, lift through pelvic floor, lift through the belly. You're going to let the body lift as soon as you can. That takes more muscle power. Let the knees melt down, allow the bum to drop, and then hold and breathe. Find a stretch. And relax the face. Let the breath be easy here. Continue to scoop through the tummy, and a full breath to roll back down. Let's try a couple more. Exhale, pressing up and out. Inhale, up and over. So if you did have your headrest raised, for this move, you want to keep it flat. Whenever we begin to invert and lift the legs up higher, rolling up onto that upper back, you want the headrest flat so that we don't cause strain or excess pressure on the neck. When I'm here, my weight is on my thoracic spine. It's between my shoulder blades. I can turn my head very easily. That's a really good test and a good check to do to make sure you're not clenching or coming up too high. Some people like to really roll this way up here. That's not so good for your neck. Cuts off my voice. You want to drop it down a couple of bones. You want to get the weight centered on the mid-back. We're going to let the knees melt down. We're going to let the hips melt down. And then we're going to roll it all the way down. From here, I'm going to come into an upright butterfly stretch. I'm going to let the soles of the feet come together. And because I have these fuzzy straps, I'm kind of pressing the straps together. This might be enough stretch. You can do this in neutral or a flat back. It doesn't matter. You're just going to keep the tummy tight. For more stretch, you can grab your leather straps and gently draw them in towards your face. And you're going to hold and breathe. So the knees and the thighs are rotating out towards the sides of the room. Okay. Carefully, you can keep the belly tight, keep your butterfly shape, and then you're going to allow the feet to lower down into the springs. So because I can get a pretty nice tight butterfly, I would hit my cushion here. I would get blocked by the arched, extended position. I'm going to keep the tummy tight to support me, and this is a really nice place to open the arms. You can spread through the hands and fingers and open through the upper body, and just let this be a place to rest and to release. This feels really good on the back as well. It almost provides a little bit of traction to the low back, as long as you don't have problems coming into extension. Okay, tight belly. We're going to roll the feet up. We're going to grab hold of the loops, pop them off, and gently lower yourself all the way in. We're going to bring the feet down, and we're going to roll up for a couple more exercises. So hands behind the thighs if you need them, otherwise they'll come to the sides of you. You'll take a full breath, you'll roll up, shoulders stay down, you'll come up nice and tall. Okay, so next we're going to move into knee stretches. For knee stretches, if you are more of a beginner student, then I would recommend one medium spring. If you're a brand new student, you might want to start on one heavy spring. I like to do these on a light spring. If you're a very advanced student, you can do them with no springs carefully. But I get a little bit more stretch with that slight bit of resistance, and I like that if I have achiness in my back. So I'm on one light spring. I'm going to tuck my toes against the shoulder rest, and we're going to start rounding. The trick to this is to let your hips come further back than your knees. They're going to come posterior to the knees, and it's almost as if you're sitting in a little stool behind you. Okay, so if I had a little seat behind me. Hands will stay on the foot bar, and they're here to support you, but they don't get to do any of the work here. It's all going to happen from lower body and from the belly. Shoulders are going to stay pulled down. Elbows are going to stay just really softly bent. There's going to be softness in your elbows. So I'm going to round and sit back like there's a little chair behind me. I'm going to let the chin tuck down and in, and then only at my hip joint, I'm going to breathe in and take the carriage back. And I'm only taking it back to where I can keep myself rounded. So if I start to do something like this, that was too far, I'm probably going to hurt my back doing that. So I'm going to inhale and press back, staying grounded. And then with my exhale, I'm going to use the stomach to pull me in. I could let my stomach be lazy, and I could let the spring right here pull the carriage in, but that's not what Pilates is all about. So you're going to squeeze in from the belly and let the stomach pull the carriage in with control. That's what we're after. You're going to feel that contraction. You're going to inhale and press back, and then exhale, squeeze under. And continue. Inhale. So I absolutely always put in knee stretches if I have soreness in my back. For my body, it feels wonderful. And when I have clients come in complaining of back pain, I try to work these in. So we're going to try one more repetition. You're going to inhale to press the carriage behind, and then exhale, squeeze it all the way in. So we're going to come into more of a flat back position, but the hips stay behind the knees. You're going to take a puppy dog tail and stick it up in the air. So puppy dog tail comes up into the air. You're going to look up in front. This can feel like an awkward position to lift the belly. You're still lifting the belly up and in. You're still going to pull up and in against gravity. The arms continue to support you, but they're not pulling you in and out. Elbows remain soft, but your sit bones are reaching up and back. Okay? Now, I should have a little shelf here. There's a dip in my back, like I could place a small ball. Okay? As you go through this exercise, you want that small ball to stay there. You're going to continue reaching your puppy dog tail up and back through the whole thing. At first, this one can take a little coordination. So you're going to inhale and press back, and again, I'm only going to press back to where I can maintain my tummy contracted. If I keep going and I lose my form and shape, I'm probably going to hurt my back, and I'm not working from the belly anymore. So we're going to inhale and take it back. Sit bones continue to reach up. Exhale, I'm going to slide the carriage underneath, and that's where people have a tendency to want to tuck. You're going to keep lifting. So you're going to inhale behind and exhale. Inhale and exhale. So let's try one more repetition. We're going to squeeze the carriage all the way into the stopper. Keep reaching the sit bones up and behind. Lift through belly and pelvic floor. If you were on a medium, you can stay there. If you were on a light or had no springs or a heavy, if you're a beginning student and you were on a heavy, I would stay on a heavy spring for this next one. Otherwise, any other setting, I would bring it to a medium spring. We're going to go into down stretch. Hands will stay on your bar, but now everything's going to press up and forward. So the last exercises were done at the hip joints. Now we're going to move from the shoulders. So we bring everything up and forward, and I make this long inverted curve, okay, from my crown of my head all the way down to my tailbone. I'm going to maintain that. So I'm going to inhale and press back from the shoulders. And again, you don't want to take it to a point where you would feel discomfort in the back, or you feel the tummy lose its hold. Okay? Most people can power through this and press back really, really far. That's not helpful if you're not keeping the tummy nice and tight, and if you're not keeping this long curve. You want to keep all discomfort out of the spine. We're going to try 3 more. Inhaling and exhale. Last 2 times. And as you exhale and come forward, it's as if you're zipping up the front of the body from the pubic bone all the way up to the breastbone. You should just feel a zip right through there. And relax and release. So that covers some of my favorites for an achy or a sore low back. Again, like I said in the beginning of the video, perhaps you've just had a long day and or you haven't been sitting or standing with great posture throughout the day and you have some soreness. Those will help release it. Or if you're injured, it was probably about 9 months ago, it's been a while, I was lifting a child into a grocery cart, so a 30-plus pound child up and out, which is a lot of weight for me to have away from my body and up high, and that child decided to resist and had a little tantrum in the air, and I hurt my back, and it was an extension injury, and it took me probably almost 2 months to get back my full range, pain-free of extension. So I worked with these. I used these exercises along with some others, and of course I healed. I'm fine. But even when we're really conscious of our movements and our body mechanics, and we're very cognizant of protecting our back and engaging our core, you can still hurt your back. You can still be lifting a child who decides to have a little tantrum in the air, and you can get hurt. So when that happens, it's really good to kind of go back to the basics, try to get into your neutral if you comfortably can, get the tummy tight, and then work on warming up the body and stretching out those areas until you feel better. If you have any questions or comments, then please feel free to email me at amandascorner, CORENER, @charter.net. And I'm so glad that you joined me for this video, and I hope to hear from you. Thanks. Bye-bye.